I was asked by a company called SmartWave to test and review one of their smart roller shades. I did that thing, and we'll take a look at how all that went shortly. Before I get into that, however, I want to make clear that this video was not paid for, nor is there any agreement, signed or otherwise, between SmartWave and myself. I was in no way coerced or given incentive to promote this product or give anything but my honest observations and opinions. SmartWave emailed me asking if I'd like a sample product, and when I replied that I was interested, they told me to pick any item from their site. I thought long and hard about where I wanted to put a roller shade. I considered where it would be most beneficial, since it's a pretty big thing and not cheap, which I'll get to in a bit. I wanted to make sure I used it in the best place. I also considered where it would be easiest to shoot video of it for you, the viewer. Given that the studio is presently inaccessible, the next best areas are the library, where I'm presently sitting, and the sunroom, which we call the day room because we use it for working out and for some storage for things we bring inside in the cold months. The sliding door in the day room is really nice for both accessing the patio, but also for letting in tremendous amounts of light. However, that last thing isn't always ideal. Also, when it's dark outside and we're in the room, it would be nice to have a little bit of privacy. There was a roller shade from the 1990s in there, and it worked, but I was in the middle of converting it into a motorized shade when I got pulled away for 2 years of other stuff. The shade that was there wasn't completely light blocking, but it did obscure the view. Ultimately, I decided I needed a blackout shade, but I also really wanted a shade that would allow me to let some light in and still have privacy. So I got both. SmartWave has dual roller shades, which are exactly what they sound like, and that's what I ended up picking. The doorway is 76 inches wide and 80 inches tall for some reason. It's extremely larger than the sliding door that comes out from the studio, which was added onto the house about 40 years after it was built. At any rate, I tell you all of this because I ended up ordering an outside mount shade at 84 inches wide and 90 inches tall. I also ordered a standard remote and wall plate control so I could show you what they both look like. I had the option of ordering a battery-powered shade or a wall-powered shade. I chose the wall-powered because I have a convenient outlet right next to the doorway, on both sides. I have little doubt that their batteries are as good as they advertise, for reasons I'll get into momentarily. Lastly, I ordered these with Matter integration. You can get shades that are remote only, but I wanted to test the whole gamut of features. I didn't get to, but I'll get to that too. I'm still sort of surprised they let me pick this much larger, much more complex shade. Let's start with shipping. It did take a little while to arrive, but I sort of expected that as these are more or less made to order. The box it came in is worth talking about for a second. Whatever machine makes this possible must be awesome, because I can tell it basically spits out a custom length box on demand. The end caps they used are sturdy and are screwed to the box. I point all this out because it definitely keeps the shade safer, and I'm keeping the box and end caps for other uses. The instructions and remote are tucked in with the hardware, but there was one sheet that was oddly wrapped with the shade, so I did the exact thing it told me not to do. This sheet that tells you not to power the remote before powering the shade was not with the remote, so I opened the remote and batteries and immediately put them together. Fortunately, it didn't prevent pairing when I powered on the shade, but this could have been either because I hadn't pressed any buttons yet or because I got lucky. After removing the hardware for the previous doorway adornment, installing the new shade was super easy. It came with 5 strong brackets, which I used longer screws for than provided, simply because I know the thickness of my drywall and I wanted to get a good bite into the wood header underneath. It's an older house, so the drywall, being rock and lath, is just shy of 3/4 inch or 19 millimeters thick. Leveling was a snap with my cheap carpentry level, and despite being extremely long and having 2 shades instead of just 1, attaching the shade to the brackets was pretty easy. The ends of the brackets are spring-loaded with a cleat. There's another cleat on the inside edge so that you can push the roller shade body onto the bracket at an angle, engaging the first channel and depressing the springy end. Roll the unit so the side closest to the wall comes up and the top aligns parallel to the bracket, and let off the spring end so the other channel is engaged by the opposing cleat. I had to go back and forth a little bit because I couldn't see initially. I should have used the step stool from the beginning, but I didn't, so there it is. Next, I connected the power wires, one of which I ended up having to dig out from behind the shade because I wasn't paying attention when I snapped it in place, but it wasn't hard to get. With the shade mounted and powered, I put the batteries in the remote and gave it a go. After I wrestled the little plastic coin battery disabler out of the wall remote, I tried that. The wall remote feels a little thin and reminds me of several tiny cheap IoT remote buttons I've seen, so I won't be removing it from the wall plate for fear it'll break. The remote is much more substantial. The shade material is quite heavy and the body is very sturdy and clean looking. The motors are audible, but only just, certainly a far cry from the ones I made myself. The movement is quite slow but deliberate, and it doesn't seem to bog the motors down at all. If I was a smarter man, I would have installed a spacer board to avoid colliding with the enormous handle on this door, but I wasn't, so I'll likely be changing something in the not-too-distant future, which I'm not really all that afraid of. Or I'll simply babysit the thing when it's going up or down. I just sort of hate that because it makes the remote kind of pointless. I'll probably make a little diverter thing to keep it from snagging. Anyway, the speed is sometimes a little annoying, but I do understand it. The snug fit to the wall, combined with having the extra overlap, makes it nice, although I do wonder if having the blackout be closer to the wall would be better. I don't need it to block all of the light necessarily, so it's more than adequate for this, and I think it looks really, really good. After admiring it for a bit, I decided to connect it to my Home Assistant, which I'm not sure is possible. The reason I'm not sure is because I tried over and over to use the QR code, and it just spun and spun without telling me why it couldn't do the thing. Then I decided to install SmartThings against my better judgment, and SmartThings informed me that I need a Thread border router to connect. I'm a bit curious as to whether or not it would be possible to just go ahead and send commands using the same approach Thread used to tell me I couldn't connect without a router, given it automatically detected the thing in the first place, but I'm sure they have their reasons. Not wanting to invest in yet another disparate hub, router, or USB dongle just to use something that could do what it does with a simple integer or two, I did not go any further. I want to be clear that I am not holding this against SmartWave at all. I picked the Matter integration feature and they're just going with the flow, but I have to say a simple Wi-Fi package would make me much happier than all of these things that keep asking me to buy more things in order to do things I didn't really need the first things for in the first place. But that's for another video or two. Overall, I really like this roller shade. I mean, I really like it. I don't care so much about the Home Assistant integration, though it would be nice, and I may break down and spend the extra money to add another opportunity for obsolescence to ruin an entire chunk of my home's functionality. I'll let you know if I do that. Now, I must talk about the thing that I'm not super sure of. This shade, if I had purchased it myself, would have cost over $1,000. My wife and I and a couple of our friends have all sat sucking air through our teeth as we go back and forth about how much money that is and how really great this shade looks. Ultimately, if I had enough extra money, I'd buy this. I'd get it a little cheaper because I'd leave off the wall plate control and the Matter integration, but even as it is, I don't think it's a bad deal. I get the impression that this shade is going to last for quite a while, which I'll keep you apprised of, and it really does make this room more dynamic and enjoyable. I think it looks good, I think it works well, I think it's sturdy. I suppose that means I recommend it if you want something like this and have the cash. If skies get bluer here, I may buy more of these, one at a time, over the next few years to cover all the windows. Being able to block out the sun makes a huge difference to the heating and cooling bill, and the extra draft barrier can't hurt either. SmartWave have officially earned a cautious fan. We'll see how the test of time goes in the long run, but I'm glad I have this shade. I want to thank SmartWave for generously sending me this roller shade. I also want to thank all viewers, subscribers, members, or anyone else hearing my voice for your minutes. We are all allotted an unknown limited supply of minutes, and you've given some of yours to me. I think that's really neat. Time is the greatest gift we can give. I hope you enjoyed the video, and do join me next time as I continue testing smarter circuits.